are going to do this. Well, let's do it right now. Welcome to Empowered Podcasting Live. This is our weekly show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we bring you the latest updates on Empowered Podcasting 3, introduce you to members of our amazing community, and highlight our partners, sponsors, and of course, talk about what's happening in the world of podcasting. Whether you're already a part of Empowered Podcasting family or you've just discovered us, we're here to help indie podcasters connect, create, and grow and feel a whole lot less alone on this journey. So let's jump in and let me introduce my friends and business partners to you. First, we have COO Jason Cercone. Hello, Jason.
Hello, Mark, Rich, Adam, and to the rest of the world.
And actually, Shay is popping in. Shay is Adam's business partner. There she is. We will get to her in a moment. And let me say hello to our CMO, Rich Perry. Hello, Rich.
What's going on? What's going on?
Welcome, my friend. And today, if you didn't figure it out already, Rich, Jason, and I are joined by Shay Sparks and Adam Bird of the Maker's Machine. And just side note, behind the scenes, I had to practice saying Maker's Machine multiple times because I kept saying Maker's Mark, which is an entirely different thing and would make this show a lot more lively. But these two are both returning to the Empowered Podcasting community in a really big way this year as both speakers again and sponsors for EPC3. And if you were with us last year, you may remember the energy that they brought around community, connection, accountability, and building something bigger than yourself. And at EPC, they'll be expanding on that conversation and helping creators think more intentionally about how community can fuel both purpose and profit. So Shay, Adam, welcome.
Great to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. And Shay, you made it.
Yes, I made it. Thanks for being patient with me. Yeah, this
no
is
problem.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, we love having you guys here and love having you guys being a part of this for all 3 years now, which is so cool. And I guess, fellas, shall we dive in, or do you guys want to? Do you have any updates for our community and empowered podcasting? Which I'll let you guys decide. Where do you want to go first?
Nothing on my end, but real quick for the community, shout out the Facebook group. We've been getting a lot of people joining the Facebook group. So
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Stay involved, stay engaged, get in the comment threads and all that. But, just wanted to shout that out because we've been growing a lot lately.
Absolutely. And I know that one of the things that we've been focused on over the past week or two is making sure we have all of our materials, all of the odds and ends ordered, like from things like T-shirts to signage, etc. So that we're in the thick of that right now. We will soon have some other updates for you, some some new sponsors, some giveaways that are going to be held at the event. Lots of cool stuff happening behind the scenes. So we'll try to fill all of you in more as we can. We can't quite do it all just yet. Some of it still being taken care of. So then I think the best place to go here is with a discussion with Shay and Adam, and I'll let you guys kind of decide who's going to answer what question as we go. So and here's where I want to start, because I was remembering last year's talk, and I think it was you, Shay, when you guys were presenting. You kind of joked, and we're also certainly serious at the same time, about AI versus HI, right?
Yeah.
That's human interaction. So why do you think that distinction matters so much right now for podcasters and content creators?
Well, I've even gone even further with it, actually. So I'm calling myself the human integration, the HI coach and speaker. So for me, the human interaction, integration, whatever you want to call it, is so important because most podcasters are by themselves, right? A lot of times we're in our home studio. Sometimes it's unfortunate, but sometimes our loved ones don't really understand like what this whole podcasting is. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it for free? Why is your hobby so expensive? You know, all those things, right? And so the human interaction part is really bringing like-minded, but also like-hearted people together to just be able to share, whether that's, hey, no one understands me. Hey, I'm doing this alone. Hey, does it always feel this lonely? To know that they're not alone, to know that there is a sense of belonging. And one of the things that we really focus on, not only with what we do, but everything that we do in podcasting, every conference that we go to, is focusing on that camaraderie, focusing on the community part of it, focusing on how it's not just a conference. You're going year after year because you're building those relationships, and it becomes like a family reunion.
I love that. Thank you for that. By the way, we have someone in the chat here. I just want to shout them out. Living with Parkinson, that's the handle, and they're saying that this is their first time watching, trying to learn something because they want to start their podcast about Parkinson's disease. That's awesome, and I think you've come to the right place for sure. So yeah, stick around, and if you really want some help, also I highly suggest checking out empoweredpodcasting.com. And since I'm also sharing about websites, Shay and Adam's website, themakersmachine.com, and I'm sharing it over here on Clubhouse for our Clubhouse audience as well. So, okay, cool. Fellas, any questions for Shay and Adam? Or you want me to keep going?
I would love, because I know the story real quick. I want to go back, rewind a little bit, because I know that community is so important to the both of you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you both met, like many of the people on this call right now, we met at Podfest. You met at Podfest, Shay and Adam, and you both live in 2 different states. So tell me what that is like as far as finding these like-minded people, starting this wonderful initiative, but being separated. Like, tell me a little bit about that. Like, how you guys met. Tell the folks how you guys met, and then got started on building this Maker's Machine, being so far away.
Go ahead, Shay. You want
Adam?
go ahead and start this one. You're a little
Adam.
when you explain it. So
Gosh, so here I am going to Podfest 2020 in March before the world shuts down, right? And I was suggested to me that I attend the arm of Podfest that was called Military CreatorCon, and I had just started being involved in the veteran community, and so I decided to go. I went with the intention of hopefully meeting at Podfest an editor to do my show. And so I'm in this room with 50 people, maybe 4 other civilians, and maybe 5 other women. So, I was definitely the minority. And this gentleman's on stage, and he's on a panel, and he's in this, suit, and he's very stoic, and he's very to the point with every question that he answers. And
Very tall.
Very tall, right? Like, he's sitting down, so he can't really tell. But yes, he's very tall.
Majestic beard.
Yeah.
Great looking guy.
Yes. All those things. Yes. Well, sharp dressed man, right? There you go. And someone says, Adam Burt is the best editor in the game. And I went, all right, I got to meet him. So he then, the event that panel was over, he goes and sits in the back row. And Adam, do you want to take it from here?
Well, so I'm told what happened next was I just kind of gave people the cold shoulder, and I won't repeat what was said, but I tend to have a look on my face that isn't always approachable. I'll just put it that way. And so Shay this lady comes up to me and says, hey, I'd like to talk to you. And I was like, sure, let's schedule a time or whatever. And kind of just left it at that from what I remember. And eventually we linked up and started talking, and she told me about her show and whatnot, and it kind of just everything kind of grew from there. So that's been just over 6 years now. So and it's one of those things where community you don't never I go to these events, and it's been hundreds of them over the last 20 years and whatnot. It's been great. In you guys as well, the last 3 years hanging out with you guys each year, friends become family, and it's part of that community, the closeness and whatnot. And I've had that with Shay, over the last 6 years. So it's been a blessing for me.
Yeah, and I can vouch for the, I'll call it RBF face that although I guess I shouldn't say face after RBF. But yes, I remember meeting you guys at Podfest maybe a year after this that you're talking about. And Shay and I think had already connected a little bit, and she called me over. They were sitting at a table, and Adam was just sitting there, just the stern look on his face the whole time. I was like, I don't think this guy likes me very much. But we got to know each other, and he is the sweetest, kindest guy that I think I've met at Podfest. So don't judge a book by its cover, I suppose.
I guess, but it's funny because people have been telling me that for years. Like, anybody ever tell you you're not really approachable? And I was...
It's funny
No.
because it's only initially, because the moment you open your mouth,
Right.
you're very approachable.
Yeah, and it's one of those. It's a. I guess some people would call it a defense mechanism or whatnot. It's just me.
Yeah.
Once you get to know me, I'm a teddy bear. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
don't be fooled by. I'm very alarming when you see me. That's why I say I got a face for radio. So.
So we're talking all about these conferences and friends becoming family at these conferences, yet there are still a lot of indie podcasters, DIY podcasters that are creating alone, editing alone, doing all the marketing themselves, sometimes wondering if anyone's really listening. So how can being people that facilitate community, how can community help with that loneliness?
And I think the big thing is reaching out. If you come across somebody that's doing it on their own and whatnot, offer to bring them into your community, and see if you can help them out in something that they're missing or whatnot. I think over the years, my background being military and whatnot, as a veteran, we have that side community that I have. I have the community with the podcasting and, several other communities and whatnot. When I come across somebody that might fall into one of those communities that is looking for help or whatnot, I just invite them in, and you don't have to, life is hard enough. You don't have to do things alone. And I think, although there is a thing called healthy competition and whatnot, I'm all for that. But at the same time, it's like, the world's a big sandbox and we can all play in it together. You know what I mean? And many hands make light work. So if you can, instead of putting that competitiveness society, keep some of it, but if you can invite people in that are doing something similar that you're doing, or just looking for help or whatnot, why not extend the olive branch out and invite them in and just build that community? Like I said, many hands make light work. And I think for me personally, I'm at a point in my life where I kind of live my life by, I want to try to help as many people as I can while I'm every morning that I wake up. Is if I'm drawing air in my lungs, I want to help as many people as I can that day, and that's my purpose.
Love that. Shay, how about you? How can community help that loneliness?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'm a little outgoing. I don't know if you guys have known that, a little extrovert.
You think?
Yeah, just a little. And but at the same time, I'm also very aware, observant of the outliers, the people who have shown up alone, the people who are maybe sitting in the back of the room, they're taking notes, but they're not really engaged in talking with anyone. And I am one of those people that I will just be like, go up and talk to them like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And that's literally, I was like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And just by saying, what's your name? People are like, wait, what? My name? And then they're like, oh, you're talking to me. Okay, got it. And then it kind of disrupts them. So my advice for other people is find the people that are sitting by themselves and give them something to, kind of disrupt their thought process. Because I don't know about you all, but a lot of times, especially when we work alone, we get stuck in our heads. And sometimes we are, that same story is running around and around. And it's like, oh, wait, someone else is engaging with me. Oh, okay. So for me, the reason I do that is because I probably am a lot like you, Mark. I never felt like I belonged. And so that's why became the person that I wanted to have in my life, right? I became the change I wanted to see. And so I would reach out to people. I would say, hey, I saw you at this conference and we didn't get a chance to meet, but I really want to meet with you. And they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we connected because I didn't talk to anybody. And I was like, why didn't you? I wish we had saw each other. Like, because if anyone who knows me, who goes to these podcast conferences, I've had one person, I can't remember the exact verbiage she said, you're like, pardon my language, you're the introvert's wet dream. You just walk down the hall, you see person, you're like, hey, come join with me. And next thing you know, you're part of a flock of people and you constantly just introduce people and connect with people everywhere around you. So these introverts people, they don't have to really do anything. They just have to hang out with you and you do all the work. And I said, funny, it's not even work for me. It's just who I am. So that's that's my take on community.
I love that. Yeah, and somebody here in the chat, MQ Stories podcast says, I think podcasters are way more collaborative and less competitive than the general population. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's very true. And I will say, as somebody who's been doing this for over 20 years, my first, we'll call them 15, I didn't really even attempt to learn that. Like, I just felt like everybody was competitive. I felt very competitive with everyone else. And that was just my perspective, right? That was just my, I'll call it warped perspective. And once I finally decided that I'm going to put myself out there and go to one of these events, it changed everything for me. I learned exactly what this person's saying here, that, that it is a very friendly, very collaborative space. And look, I mean, here I am now with Jason and Rich, both met them at conferences. Right. And now we are in business together running our own conference. So you never know. And yes, I agree that this podcasting community is a really special one for sure.
Absolutely. Real quick. And it looks like that was Jennifer Longworth. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, I think you said something very similar in a post very recently, right? I don't remember the post, where it was, but I remember seeing someone saying that podcasters are by far the kindest people, the most collaborative type of folks, the folks willing to lend a hand back and help bring someone forward, and that is certainly my experience. When the first time I attended Podfest and just meeting wonderful people, I'm like, oh my God, I finally found awesome people that care about helping each other. And, if you've got a question, there's no gatekeeping. It's just, oh, let me tell you how it happens. Here's how the cookies are made, kind of thing. And that's what we try and do with EP Empowered Podcasting in our conference. So glad I found you all.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I'll vouch for you, Mark. I know when we met at Podcast Movement, I remember having that conversation with you. And I was a little taken back by it because I came with the opposite mindset of what Shay was explaining. I'm here to find people to collaborate with. I'm not looking at anybody in this room as competition. And you were almost like, screw these guys. I was trying to take my airtime. Glad you come around, my friend.
I was a pompous young podcaster. What can I tell you?
It all worked out for the better. You know what, though? I think everybody gets there in their own good time. And when we look at what we're building through Empowered Podcasting, I like to think of what we're building as a whole as something that flattens that learning curve to some degree. And it gives people some more insight into how to connect with great people that are clearly looking out for their best interests and helping them learn through the mistakes and the triumphs that they've had in the past. So that's one of the big things that I think makes the event itself special, but as well our entire community. With Rich had mentioned how big our Facebook community is getting. I love seeing those conversations happen there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And Jason, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, Adam and Shay specifically. I had Ariel Nizenblatt on my podcast a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that we talked about, we were focused mostly on newsletter strategy, but one of the things that came up was the fact that sometimes people want to force a community onto their audience, and they really haven't done anything to establish that or earn that yet. They just say, I'm going to start a community because it sounds like a good buzzword. So I think there's definitely something to that you need to prove your worth and show that you are there for the long run. But when someone has that type of mindset of wanting to be community minded, where is the best place for them to start?
I think personally, I think asking if people want to be a part of that community. If you build a community and make it about yourself, it's not a community. You're just being
I
self.
agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The key word is community. If I'm building this community and I'm sitting here talking about Adam Bird, then it's not. I need to be asking Mark. I need to be asking Jason. I need to be asking Rich. Like, what do you guys want? How can I help you? How can we help each other? And I think, at least in my experience, I've seen people do that where they sit there like, hey, come join my community, and it ends up being just a sales pitch on trying to sell, underwater basket weaving classes or some, something like that.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it's see me afterwards. I got something, but it's not about that.
We got an ebook we can sell you.
Yeah, when you're putting
Nice.
together a community, it needs to be about the people that are in that community and how everybody can help each other grow and build. It's the same thing what you guys have done with Empowered. And Mark, I don't know if you remember this, but a couple of years ago, after the first one, I came up to you and I said, this is the first time, and I've been podcasting since 2011, 2012, and this was the first time at any events that I've been to where I felt like I wasn't competing with somebody else. People there legitimately wanted to give advice or get advice, and they were there helping each other. Mm-hmm. That's what you guys have created. That's why we keep coming back every year, because I feel like this is, again, nothing against every other conference that's out there, but to me, this has been one that I feel like is a family, and people that come to this conference want the best for everybody that's there. And it's not a salesy pitch. It's not like, oh, here, come do this or buy this from me. It's nothing like that. I don't get that vibe at all.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. That means the world to me. And I do remember you saying that. Yeah, that really stuck with me for sure. So I want to ask you guys on this whole topic of community. I think it's important that we identify the difference between community and having an audience. Because I think there are certainly podcasters out there that will say, yeah, I've got this great community. I've got a huge community. And then when I start talking to them about and digging in, they have a lot of downloads. But when it comes to engagement and people really showing genuine interest in and outside of the podcast, that's a whole different story. And I know I'm kind of giving you the answer here at the same time, but you feel free to add on to that if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I love this question. So first of all, think about what community really means to you before you go decide to start one. So does it mean that it's actually your audience? So you're right. Some people are like, oh, I have this huge community. And then the question is, where does it live? Oh, it lives on my Instagram, or it lives on Facebook, or on my TikTok, or whatever. And it's like, okay, is that your community? Or is that, like you said, is that your audience? Is that people who are just sending you a like or a comment here and there? Or are you actually engaging in conversation with them as a group, and you're having them connect with each other? So when you think about community, think about like what your HOA looks like, right? If you live in one, everyone knows each other, everyone's talking. It's a combination of people, not just one person. And one of the things that we realized in our process of creating this is that we didn't want that community that so many, like you said, Mark, so many people throw that word around, and have it where we're in charge. It's about us. And we're just going to pitch slap you all day long. And then at the end, we're hoping that you're going to stick around and buy and come back next week. We didn't want that. That's not who we are. And so I said, well, how can we decide, like, how can we create this to where it's really not about us, but we kind of lead it, but then it kind of leads itself. And then, like, how do we maneuver all of this in a way that is really helpful, collaborative, and considerate of all people involved. And Adam is brilliant, if you guys don't already know that. And so to have him as a brainstorming partner through this, and to just be like knowing that our backgrounds are both faith-filled and purpose-filled is really where it starts for us. And so to lean into that and go, okay, so this isn't really about us. This is really about making sure that we have a safe place. Just like Marc, you've created the EPC, a safe place to be for people to just come, be, learn, grow, maybe hug some people, maybe cry a little bit, who knows, but just be yourself rather than trying to be what you think you need to be.
Yeah, great. Well put. And I want to quickly pause here for just a moment because first, again, I want to make sure it's very clear that Shay and Adam, like I said, have been here for a long time as far as a part of Empowered Podcasting. They first came as attendees, then they came as speakers, then now they're speakers and sponsors. So I want to encourage you to check out themakersmachine.com to see this beautiful space that Shay and Adam have created. And I'd also like to share a little bit about some of our other sponsors as well. And Rich, I think you would be the best person to do that.
Yes. Quick little ad break?
Sure.
Shout out break?
Shout out
sponsor break? The people helping us put this thing on, making it a success. Yes. Big shout out to the Content Creators Accountant, our title sponsor. Also, shouts to our favorite sponsors, Bourbon Barrel Podcasting. Jennifer, I think she's still on the call right now.
Yep.
Obviously, the Maker's Machine, Shay and Adam. Mopod will be a sponsor this year. They'll be sponsoring one of the warm-up parties, so get some libations courtesy of Mopod. Also want to shout out, that's right, I heard that. Shout out some of our creator partners, the brand new program that we put in place to let our creator community do what it is that they do best while at the same time creating that win-win for us both. So shouts out to the Trend Report podcast, Mozen Wellness, The Podcast Teacher, Success on Social, Volt Productions, Your Brand Amplified, and Cassiano Creative. We also have some really great in-kind partnerships going on. Of course, Podfest Multimedia Expo, big shouts to them, their entire community for inspiring us. Also to our main man, Junaid with Home Mastery Studio. He'll be providing the AV because you need that. Also, too, he's got a brand new product that we interviewed him on 2 weeks ago when I was last here, Pod Glue. So check that out. Also, shouts to Pod News, Pod Page, both in-kind sponsors, Webby AI, Military Creator Con, and Earbuds Podcast Collective. I believe I hit everybody.
Wow.
Did you hit Pod Page?
I did. I did Pod
Okay,
News and Pod Page.
Yeah, because I wanted to say, I saw also Dave Jackson was in the chat on
Yes.
YouTube as well. So
You
I wanted
missed
to make
one,
sure to say
Rich.
hi.
Shout to Dave.
Hmm.
Well,
Who did he miss?
If it's the big one, I'm not announcing that yet.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not talking about that yet. The
who did I
Podcast
miss?
Professionals Association joined
Yes.
as a sponsor earlier.
Oh, man. All right, hold on.
In the middle of June. So they are.
I'm going to
our
mute
friends over
myself.
there. We're going
and
to
I'm
give them a
gonna
shout out as well.
Yes, the Podcast Professionals Association. They're sponsoring one of our tracks that Saturday of the event, and it'll
is
be
correct.
mostly featuring all members of the PPA. So that should be really fun and interesting stuff for sure. Good
Yep.
stuff. Cool.
And
All right.
the Ask the
And
Pros
if
panel
I
that they'll
can
be hosting as well.
Yes, that's right.
And if I can say one more thing,
Please.
we have a couple weeks left. So if you want your name read here live for the world to see, you want your brand visible at the conference, and you just want to get involved in an official way, we would absolutely love to partner with you in some way, shape, or form. If you want to contribute your skills, talents, money to help make sure EPC is a success, hit me up. Let's talk, because this is how it's going to happen, folks. And we do appreciate everyone's support, no matter if you are a paid sponsor, an in-kind sponsor, or just one of the many people part of our community helping us grow from 3 years ago when it was just an idea in Marc's head. So that's my piece. Thank you.
And I see that you guys are getting some shout outs in the chat as well. One from Junaid. He's over there too. That's cool. And yeah, if you want to reach out to Rich, go to empoweredpodcasting.com/sponsors, and there should be a little pop-up that'll come up there, and you can just fill out the little form and let us know that you're interested, and we'll take it from there. Yeah. Okay. So, fellas, let me know if you have other questions. I'd love for you guys to chime in a little bit more, and I will take this next one. So you both talk a lot about purpose. Especially at EPC2, I remember that a lot, and I know from other conversations we've had since. So my question is, how does knowing your purpose make it easier to attract the right people into your circle, into that community? Do I need to play?
I think, man, that's a great question. The only way I can explain it is and you guys have heard me say this on stage, finding your purpose, I feel like the rest of your life kind of falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel like you're living by your purpose, you change. People can see that. Your body language changes. And you might not think it. I certainly didn't, because, well, I'm stubborn. But people have said, you've changed. Something's changed about you. You seem a little more calm. You seem a little more easier to be around, or whatever whatever it may be. But I realized when I started focusing on my purpose in life, that everything else in life got easier. Money came when I needed it. I was able to make time for myself. I wasn't stressed out about work or clients or this, that, or the other thing. It would just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, other than life falls into place the way that it's supposed to. And it doesn't necessarily make life easier, but it makes life more enjoyable. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes a lot of sense. I think that, it brings you clarity. And you now know what you know who you're looking for, you know what you want, because you understand yourself, your purpose, your mission. And I see that totally applying to all areas, not just trying to build a community, but that's everything, is understanding your purpose. That's an area that I'm still developing over all this time, almost 53 years of life. It's still something I'm challenged with. And I think that part of that is to recognize that sometimes that purpose evolves and it changes over time. Yeah. And you have to be able to embrace that when it does. Shay, is there anything you wanted to add?
Definitely, exactly what you just said. So about the evolution of your purpose. So I think from a coaching perspective and my own personal perspective, I'll say it this way. There comes a time in a person's life where they're kind of hit with, there's got to be something more. Is there something more meaningful that I'm doing? Whether it's at work, whether it's a hobby, whether it's in their family, sometime, at some point, that'll hit them. And they're like, gosh, there's got to be something more. And to me, on my journey, it's not about finding the exact answer, like you said, because it does evolve. It's about being willing to take the step, to start the journey. And I like to call it curious exploration, and really learn, kind of experiment. What is my purpose? What does that look like? And I can tell you from my own experience, mine has shifted. Mine has evolved. It has gone from this to that to something else. And at the end of the day, what all of those different quote unquote types of purpose really fall under is the one thing which I felt like I knew when I was 18, is to make a positive impact in other people's lives. And so what that looks like, how it shows up is different. And it's been different. But for anyone in the audience who's listening, it's really about tapping into that inner voice, not the negative one that tells you, that imposter syndrome that tells you you're not good enough. It's the one that goes, well, what else is there? Who do I really want to be when I grow up? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? And for me, it was really taking that time of looking back at a pretend experiment of looking back at when I'm 100 and looking back at my birthday of what have I accomplished. And it all boils down to that one thing for me is being a positive impact in other people's life. And if I can do that on an everyday basis, on a every call basis, every podcast interview basis, then I'm doing it. I'm living it.
Thank you, Shay. Yeah, Jason, go ahead. And you are here. I'll unmute you. There you go. Sorry about that.
I could do it. I know I was muted. Your shirt keeps reminding me.
Yes.
Well, I like we did with Jennifer on last week's live stream. We don't want to give away everything, but we'd love to hear what you guys are bringing to the stage at EPC3. You unintentionally raised the bar each year. So how are you going to continue to do that as we roll into this August?
Jason, that's a great question. Unfortunately, that's classified. And
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Nanya,
Yeah.
All right, show over.
we're wearing something special. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
All
This
right.
got interesting.
There it is,
I
raising
don't
the
even
bar
know.
already.
Oh, it'll be news to me too. No, I think the one thing that it'll probably change a little bit because we've evolved over the last year, right? But I think what people can certainly expect is the intensity and just me. I think you'll see me be a little more approachable. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Are you going to actually be on the same stage with Shay, or are you going to be standing off stage again?
We've trademarked that, and let me tell you why. It is the funny story. In fact, it started at Empowered when we first did it. And
let me set it up a little bit better for you too, because what I'm referring to is when Shay and Adam, quote unquote, got on stage. Shay only got on stage, and Adam just kind of circled the stage from the floor the whole time.
Well,
And
the camera was cutting my head off when I was on the stage, so I had to. So when I'm eye level with Shay, that's why I stay off the stage to make it easier for the cameraman. So.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
All right, cool. So you guys really aren't going to spill any tea right now as far as what we can look forward to.
Just be ready to take some notes.
Okay, that's
There we
fair. All right, so then for creators who are always thinking about growth and downloads and monetization, how do you help them slow down enough to serve the people that are already in front of them? That's a challenge that I know I face a lot with my clients. I'm curious, Shay, how do you handle that with yours? Guess what? You're on mute. Here you go. I'll get you. I got you. Go ahead.
Love it.
Of course, I'm on mute. I didn't know I had control. My goodness.
You do.
So we talked about this last year, and we'll probably touch on it again, maybe. But for us, it's really about the reaching out, the outreach to your audience, the people who are liking your post, who are commenting, the people who might leave a review, and that might be stalkerish to look into them, but hey, we live on an online world, right?
I've done it.
You could totally find them. And the reason is not because it's like, oh, hey, I thank you for liking my post, join my community. Here's how much it pay. It's going to cost you. No, it's not for that reason. It's not to pitch slap them, but it's to really find what they're looking for, what their needs are. What draws them to your show? What is it that they are looking for every time they're listening, or what feeling are they taking away? So as most of you know, I'm a former hairstylist, and so it's literally 20% about the actual skill, and it's 80% about how you make people feel. And the same goes for our podcast every single time. It is about how are you making people feel after they've consumed your show? Are they excited to listen to the next one? Or are they like, good God, I'm never going to listen to that again? And so you want to get that feedback, good or bad, and be able to use it so you can then decide how you're going to use it.
Okay. So then I want to, all right, so let me ask one other question around EPC, your involvement, and well, no, let me do it like this, not EPC, the Maker's Machine. Let's talk about that for a second, because we're dancing around it. Tell us a little bit about the Maker's Machine. What does that look like? You know, we're talking about it as a community, but how can people take advantage of it? What does it look like?
Adam?
Oh, yeah, you would throw it at me. You know, it started off, Shay approached me with this idea of creating a community for podcasters and startups, business startups, and people. It was what she had kind of alluded to earlier, was creating something that we wanted that we just either couldn't find or what have you. And we just started asking people to, hey, show up. We're doing Thursday at 3 Eastern time. We do it on Zoom, and come in and tell us what you're working on. And it's always like, you know, tell us a win. We always start off, and Mark, you guys have been there. Like, we always started off with, give us a win so we can immediately celebrate that. And then we go through whatever the topic might be for that week. And then we end it with, you know, what are you committed to working on over the next week, and how can we help you get to where you achieve that? You know, it's very much hey guys, we're I don't want to say cheerleaders, that sounds so, anyway, it's
that's part of it. I mean, that's what I noticed.
We're cheering people on, and then and when I do show up, I always tell everybody, hey, everybody's got my number, or if you don't, here it is. Shoot me a text and let me know. Like, if you have a question, don't sit there and try to do it yourself. Like, I expect to hear from you. That's part of my purpose. By you asking me a question and allowing me to show up to help you, you're helping me fill my purpose in life. It's a win-win.
Shay, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, we had noticed that when we would go to typical networking events, you get pitch slapped, and then you get the business card, and then you get home and you're like, have a stack of business cards. You're like, okay, now what? What do I do? And I had been working on this idea in the back of my head since 2010, and I knew I wanted something different, but I didn't really know what it looked like. And I had tried other quote unquote groups, communities, what I thought, memberships, whatever you want to call them, things I was trying to do in my coaching business to really just help me on this path. And at the end of the day, what really matters was that, one, Adam and I focused on positive. If you're having a bad day, we can focus on the bad day, but we're not going to let you sit in the pity party for that hour that you're on our call. We are also going to hold your feet to the fire to be accountable and kick you in the pants because we love you. And it's that tough love, but it's coming from a place of, that's what we wish we had when we were having, or at least me, I was having my pity party, right? And so we designed this to really be focused in 3 areas. 1 is a win, like you said. 2 is a topic or mastermind moment where somebody has a challenge. Because again, this is so much about like helping each other out, where most businesses, companies have a board of advisors. We are each other's board of advisors. So if we ask like, what's the challenge? Who's, wants some help on their challenge? How often are you willing to ask for help? First of all, most people are going to say I'm not, right? So again, that goes back to why we wanted to really create a safe space, that it's a natural thing for people to go, oh, my turn. I get to ask. I want to ask for help because I have this going on. And what people end up finding out is that what they have, or what their challenge is like tiny, and what they're making it out to be is huge. And so when then they get the group input, because everyone shares, and I tell them that if they don't share, that's fine. They don't have to participate. But at least if they're going to participate, it's better for them. I mean, I'm sorry, if they're going to just not participate, it's better than to watch the replay rather than to be on the call, because we want that interaction. We want that conversation. We want everyone's input for this reason. You might walk away with 15 different opinions, but you're probably going to feel lighter and feel a little bit like, oh, I think I have more people that I can count on. Which brings us to the accountability part of, if you're struggling with it again in the next week, or you have, like Adam said, we say, call us, let us know. Not only us, but we have had people do this with each other. We've had people start businesses. We've had people decide to drop the co-host they've had for their show and pick up one of the people in the group. I mean, this was never planned. It's just a byproduct of I think the groundwork that Adam and I laid for this in the beginning.
That's awesome. Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I have a question. And I'm going to direct this first to Shay, because I saw you put your coach's hat on just a moment ago. So I'm going to ask you to keep the coach's hat on, maybe even put on some NLP flair as well. Okay. For the new podcaster or the new creator, okay, we've been talking a lot about community. Maybe they haven't found their group yet, their community yet, but they want to have that purpose-driven podcast or that purpose-driven business. Okay. Now, we live in a world where there's lots of vanity metrics, and it's follower counts and how many likes did you get, and how big is your audience, and are you chasing the next viral moment, or did your video go viral? Okay. What would be a tip, mindset tip, coaching tip that you have for that newer podcaster, that newer creator? How can they stay purpose driven without falling down that hole of chasing those vanity metrics, or getting wrapped up in, oh, I only had 1 like on that post? Like, how do they keep going? What would be a tip that you might have for that person?
I love this question. Thanks for asking. So
NLP and coaching tips, or hats, put them on.
what comes to mind is going back to why. Why did you start this? Right? It all starts with why, like Simon Sinek says. So I'm a big journaler. So if you're looking at the vanity metrics and you're like, I wish I had, this amount and not this amount. So my question is, why does it matter? Why is that mattering so much to you? Why are you attached to that outcome? And then to keep asking why. Why did I start my podcast? Why did I start my podcast? And then once those answers start coming up, then you continue to keep asking. Whatever that answer is of that next question, say, why does that matter? And then ask again, why does that matter? And continue to do that until you feel like you have nothing else to say. And the reason this is a good practice is because I, as Adam, I know can attest to, and probably all of you, in fact, not just all of you guys, every person who has a podcast out there, they go and they meet people and they're like, and you say, I have a podcast. And they're like, oh my God, I've wanted to start a podcast. Yes, I can't wait to start mine. And my first question is now, why? Why do you want to start a podcast? Because don't get me wrong, everyone has a lot to say. I understand that. But if you're coming from a place of, well, I'm going to make a lot of money. Yeah. That's why we're all millionaires, right?
All right.
And right. Or they're coming from a place of, well, I'm going to get, credibility and visibility and notoriety. And then, I'll be a name. I'll be famous. Yep. That's why that's why we all have these million people following us. Yep. That's why. And the truth is that there's this, like, I don't even know, because we're in it, so I don't see it. But I guess this unspoken assumption of what podcasters are in the world. And so when people say to me, I want to start a podcast, it always goes back to why, and then really dig in deep to what is really again, it goes back to purpose. What is the whole purpose of wanting to start a podcast? Now, do you have a lot of experiences and knowledge that you want to share? then that's a great place to start. But if you just want to have, a coffee chat with your best friends at the kitchen table and talk about a sci-fi movie, and that's a whole nother story of why I know that so well, then that's a different conversation. And those work too, don't get me wrong. But again, you have to go back to your why.
It's amazing that's how, whenever I'm working with somebody on strategy, that's where we start. It's the mindset piece. It's understanding what you want to accomplish, why you want to go down this path to do it, and then trying to pull them back down to earth. Because sometimes people have this ill-conceived notion of what podcasting is and what it will give them. I'd like to ask all of us here, where the hell did that start? Who was the person that came out and said, "Oh yeah, start a podcast. You'll be a millionaire by next week." Yeah, start a podcast. Everyone will listen. Like, any podcaster that's done it knows that's BS. I just wondered who's the first person to say that. I'd like to smack them a couple times.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that, some of that is somebody is entertaining their friends, entertaining their family, and their friends and family say, "You know what? That would be great for a podcast. You should do a podcast." And then that seed gets planted, and sometimes the person says, no way, I can't do that. But maybe that seed starts to sprout, and they start to think, maybe I could do that. And then here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's someone out there spreading that narrative. I do my part to crush it whenever I get an opportunity. It's nuts.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys, and then Jason has something he wants to share too regarding the conference. I want to ask you both, what is, and Adam, you kind of shared this a little bit already. What is your one thing that really stands out about Empowered Podcasting for you guys, this conference? Because you both have been to several different kinds. What makes this different for you personally? You want to go first, Shay?
Adam, go first.
People. It's a community that you guys have created. It's one that I want to be a part of, that I'm happy to be a part of, and it's the people. It's very welcoming for those and those of you that watch this or that are listening to this later on or whatnot. If you're thinking about going, don't think, just do it. This is going to be one of the best events you've ever have attended. Everybody's there is just so welcoming. The knowledge that you get from the speakers and whatnot is bar none the best that you'll see at any podcasting conference that's out there. And I'm not just saying that because we are speaking. I'm saying that because this is my third year attending it, and these guys will admit that I'm not one to BS about anything. I kind of have no filter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's see what I mean? It's one of those where this is a must attend conference, and you get so much out of it. And I've been doing this since 2011, 2012, and I learned stuff every year, and I think it's really cool. It's going in and seeing what's new and learning from other people, and then just hang out with my friends.
Love that. Yeah. That fills my heart for sure. Yeah, go ahead, Shay.
Yeah, it's definitely the people, and I'm gonna dig a little deeper and say that it's like, again, it goes back to what I said before, Mark, about why you started this. It's about that sense of belonging. So if there's anyone that is like, I'm feeling lonely, I think I want to start a podcast because I want to meet people, then this is the place to go, because it's the size that I think also matters. Is
Yeah.
the intimate size of it, right? It's not overpowering. My first podcast, a conference I went to, had 3,000 people. I gave away 500 cards in the first 2 hours, and I was like, I think I just met 500 of my new best friends. I don't know how to do this. And so that became like a challenge, a goal. If you met me at other podcast conferences after that, that's literally what I would say. Oh, my goal is to meet 500 of my new best friends. Well, Empower Podcasting, I don't have to meet 500. I can meet, 100. I can meet 5. I can meet 10. Why? Because it's a closer knit community, and I'm able to have a more meaningful conversation. I'm able to give that advice, or I'm able to help mentor, or I'm able to connect to people that don't know each other. And then the camaraderie and the fun and the non-judgmental, the non-critical, and the openness that is in that hemisphere, that sphere of, for lack of that energy, is unique. And Marc, I've known you probably since 2021, if not 22.
Yeah.
And and I've spoken at all of them. And I don't say that because I'm a speaker. I say it because I genuinely mean it. And I only go to things that I genuinely want to be a part of. And so for me, the reason that I'm so glad that we're getting to do like so much with this year is to give back. Right. So, we are, you can't fill from an empty cup. So we're not full, we're filled and we're overflowing. So it's great to just be able to love on each other again.
Well, thank you both for saying that. And yeah, that's why we have no intention to grow it to thousands of people. For that very reason, we want people to be able to see a face walk into the room and be like, yeah, I just met that person yesterday and I know who that is. That's Joe, and Joe does X, Y, and Z and wants to collaborate with me, right? Like, we want this to be intimate. We want people to really not just walk away with knowledge, but walk away with partners, walk away with friends and collaborators. So I really appreciate you guys sharing that, and appreciate you guys being here today with us, sharing a little bit of your knowledge on community and really cheerleading us on. It means a lot to us. So thank you for being here.
Yes,
thank you for having us. Yeah.
And before we wrap up officially, Jason, you wanted to share something.
Yeah, so it is officially July 1st, and we are 14 and a half days away from our final ticket price increase. So if you've been tuning into these live streams every week, I sound like a broken record, but it's for a reason, because we want you guys to get your tickets now and save a few bucks. So jump over to empoweredpodcasting.com, grab your ticket. You've spent the last hour, hopefully, listening to us shill about why you should be there and be a part of this community. But if that wasn't enough, I'll give you one more. This is something we've talked about, but now I can actually hold it in my hand. We are giving away the Shure, let me get this in front of the camera, the Shure MV7 Plus microphone plus the tripod that goes with it to one lucky person that buys a ticket. So all you need to do is buy a ticket to Empowered Podcasting and be there, of course. So when we draw your name, we can take pictures and give ourselves social media content. But that's one of the many big things that's happening that weekend. So on top of hearing Adam and Shay on stage, we've got a full lineup of great speakers, networking opportunities galore. So check everything out at empoweredpodcasting.com and lock in your ticket before the price goes up.
Yes, and more giveaways to come.
Yes.
We'll share more down the road for sure. This won't be the only really cool piece of gear that will be available to win at the conference. Yeah. So thank you all for a great conversation today. And we are, just a reminder, we're back next week, 1 p.m. Eastern live, and you can go to podcastingmorningshow.com/EPC live to find out more about how you can connect with us. And Rich, who is our guest next week? Am I putting you on the spot, or do you have that handy?
Dude, you totally are. Hold on one second.
Julia Levine. You guys, or Julia Levine. I'm sorry, I mispronounced her name. You guys got to look this stuff up before.
I know, and I should have too. So I put you on the spot.
As long as one of the three of us comes prepared, we're good.
Yes. Thank you, Jason. So come check out Julia. Julia is a wizard when it comes to things like podcast SEO, among a lot of other things too in the podcasting space. So come join us and learn more about her and what she's going to bring the weekend of August 21st to Charlotte. So for Rich Perry, Jason Cercone, Adam Bird, and Shay Sparks, I'm Marc Ronick, and we will see you next time at Empowered Podcasting Live. Take care, everybody.